Alright guys, I just want to say, so if you're watching this, my video's already been posted, but I knew when I posted my video talking about like my thoughts on like parenting advice for my future self, that it was gonna rub some people the wrong way, because again, I get everyone parents differently, and I also get I do not have children at the moment. So again, I know I don't have the experience of being a parent. I do have the experience though of working with kids and being around kids, specifically kids with autism. So parents who have kids who don't have a disability, you don't have the experience of raising a child with a disability or with any sort of disorder, I don't know. But everyone can only speak for their specific experience, right? I don't have kids. I'm speaking as someone who loves kids, likes kids, works with kids, and also had observed a situation that I felt was, in my opinion, not a great way to parent. At the end of the day though, I don't have control over how other people choose to parent their kids. Everyone is going to do what they feel best. At the end of the day, I also know that parenting in general, like parenting advice in general, is never going to be a one shoe fits all type of thing. So like anyone out there who's a parent, and however you choose to parent your kids, I just trust and believe all parents are doing their best. Whether I agree with it or not is not really up to me, but I would hope every parent out there is doing the best with what they know. I also know that a lot of people, especially it's a cycle, because this is also me using what I learned in psychology. A lot of people, you know, everyone is raised differently, everyone grows up differently, and how you are raised also does affect how you decide to parent your children. So typically people who grew up with more strict parents, if they did not like that, they're going to be less restrictive on their children. On the other hand, but there's also people who grew up with strict parents and they continue being strict with their children because they learn to either appreciate it or they understand it in later years. Who knows? But everyone is going to decide how they want to parent their children differently. My video was really just in response to a situation that I felt like this woman, well, yes, she probably was just like, I don't want to put my child in a situation that she felt was unsafe. I understand her perspective on why she chose not to let her 2-year-old daughter leave her 2-year-old daughter in the classroom. I just felt it was not something I would have chosen to do as a parent, which is why I said parenting advice for myself. So if you're offended by that video, I would say, like, first of all, do not read my videos as I'm speaking for every single parent, especially based on the fact that I don't actually have kids. Basically, it's more of just like for my future self, future children, I want to raise my kids to be people who are kind and courteous, but I also don't want to teach them to be afraid of other children or to be, scared of a child who has a learning disability or a disability or autism, whatever it may be. Like, anyways, this is why people do what they want with their children, and you can respect it. You don't have to agree with how other people parent their child. At the end of the day, as a parent, you get to decide how you raise your children. I feel like any advice someone's giving about parenting, you either can take it or you can ignore it. It's literally like, you don't have to read hard into stuff like that. Like, if you don't agree, it don't apply. If it don't apply, let it fly, as they say. So anyways, I just wanted to say that because there's always sometimes when I'm posting a video where I'm like, someone's gonna not like this, or someone's gonna like read more into something than it was really intended when I made it. So that's my little caveat. Honestly, I've always wanted to foster children too. So I think like I don't have to be a parent to know how I want to raise a child. Like, I also think, like, why I don't think you should tell someone, like, oh, until you have kids, like, you can't have an opinion on something, because there's a lot of things I have opinions on that I haven't experienced. I have opinions on relationships, I have opinions on marriage, I have opinions on things. I do agree that until I'm actually in those situations, I don't know how exactly, like, it might change, I might feel differently once I'm in those situations. I 100% agree. Like, you don't know, I don't know what I will do until I'm in a situation specifically. However, I still hold opinions on things because I'm a human being and I like to talk about things. So anyways, that's all I really was gonna say. It's just like, to each their own. I feel like sometimes people read too much into my videos, especially if I'm sharing an opinion. Like, I'm not necessarily sharing my opinion because I think it's the only way you're supposed to think about something, or I'm the only right perspective. It's just sharing how I think, how I feel. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. And that's okay. People interpret things differently a lot of times too. I also think sometimes, especially with like text, it's really hard. I think that's why I like making video responses to things instead of making like typing back and forth, because a lot of times people have said I'm kind of blunt with my wording, and I'm not saying things to be like rude, but it can be taken that way because people can assume a tone I'm having when I'm really not having one. Sometimes people have said I'm harsh, and you know, I understand it because there's been comments people have made about me that I felt were harsh. So it's just like, sometimes you have to realize, like, it's not always someone's intention to be like harsh or demeaning or put some down. Sometimes people do it unintentionally. Some people are very blunt, and that's okay. Like, I've kind of am just getting to a point where I'm just like more chill about people having like I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I've never expected like a bunch of people to agree with all of my opinions, or people are just gonna love everything I have to say about every topic. I just think like you shouldn't be scared to share your opinion, but if you're gonna have an opinion, make it an opinion that you've thought thoroughly about, because I think about things a lot and my opinions might change in the future. But again, I'm sharing my opinions as of my age, state, right now, what I know, what I have. I have a lot of unpopular opinions about a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with. I just stopped being scared to share them because I just feel like if you're scared to share how you feel about something, like, what does that say? What does that say about, like, I mean, there's definitely a air of political correctness that I feel like is taking over a lot of places. I was just thinking about this, like watching, so our room has cable. We had not turned on the TV the entire time we've been here, but since we actually had an off day, I actually turned on the TV and was watching like Disney Channel, and I'm like, the shows on Disney Channel are like not what we used to have growing up. Like, it seems like whoever at Disney decided like they wanted to be like Cartoon Network or something, because it was all mostly cartoon and animated series. Maybe it's just because it's the weekend, I don't know. But I was like, Disney is not what it used to be. There's not like, it's all like animated. But also I feel like a lot of the Disney Channel shows now have very little, like, they don't really teach values. Like, they're not teaching kids good values. They're teaching kids, I don't know, just silly things, in my opinion. But I don't know. I guess because I'm older now, I think about it differently. I feel like shows like That's So Raven, like, they had the silliness to it, of course, but they still taught like real values and real, like, you know, there was like a learning moment, like you can't be selfish, or you need to learn to consider someone else's feelings or your siblings matters. Like, even, okay, there is this TikTok